Welcome back to my cave, once again, humans. Now, I've already made a previous video about how much I hate Nekominis and elves and whatnot, but mostly what I stated was how lazy they are. Truth be told, there's more to it. For example, let's take Garou from Genshin Impact. A lot of people are saying he has deep lore and whatnot, and you know what? All of that is ruined by the fact that he's just a human with fox ears and a tail. Stuff like this honestly breaks my immersion in a fantasy universe. Ultimately, I'm just going to flat out say it, these kind of characters don't even make sense. Like, let me get this straight. This creature that's totally different from humans looks exactly like a human, just with animal ears and a tail. Why do they have animal ears and a tail? And supposedly they have enhanced abilities even though they have the exact same anatomy as humans. I mean, with anthros, there are several theories I could buy. Genetic mutation, evolution, magic, chemical mutation, etc. And sometimes anthros are just badass and I don't ask questions. Who cares? They're awesome. But a creature that looks exactly like a human, except with animal ears and a tail, like mutating that precisely or something like that, sorry, I cannot buy this. I have a hard enough time buying elves as a separate creature to humans. Like, I could understand if elves were related somehow, but no! In most fantasy universes, elves are supposedly completely different from humans, despite looking virtually indistinguishable from humans except for their ears. What I don't get is people talking about relatability and looks are superficial, and I have to ask, what creature is more relatable, a vampire or a werewolf? A vampire is a creature that sucks blood of the living and has no choice but to do so, and usually thinks nothing of it. They have no control over themselves, no control over their mind. They are now undead creatures of evil. On the other hand, a werewolf does have control over themselves, except during a full moon. They could potentially live a normal life until that faithful evening where they go berserk. Some werewolves are even smart enough to try and lock themselves up so they do not hurt anyone. Honestly, that sounds way more sympathetic than vampires. So why are vampires always good guys while werewolves are villains? To be fair, in literature they both tend to be romanticized very often, but in other forms of media, vampires are usually good and werewolves are bad. At least in modern media, it's often like that. Honestly, relatability doesn't even seem like the issue. It just feels like they're the good guys because they look more human. Also, let me go back to the looks are superficial argument. I notice a lot of people have told me that when defending characters that look like humans. They often state a character needs to look like a human in order to be relatable. So which is it? Looks are superficial, or characters need to look like humans in order to be relatable? If you seriously cannot buy a heroic character that does not look like a human, then clearly looks do matter to you. Even if your argument is they don't determine whether something is human or not, really, you can buy a perfectly human creature that has cat ears and a tail as a completely different creature. Yet anthros, creatures you can clearly see are not human, are just humans. Really. They may sometimes act like humans or dress like humans and stuff like that, but that doesn't make them human. Like, what if we find an alien race that does all that? That doesn't make them human. Not to mention, if you write your anthropomorphic animals to be exactly like humans, that's on you, not on the fact that they're anthropomorphic animals. You could easily write them to be different from humans without trying too hard. And even sometimes there's a symbolic reason for the characters being anthro. And once again, I don't think that hardly about it sometimes because I like the design. I'm not in that camp where looks are superficial. I do value a character that has a creative look and personality to them. It makes them more fun to look at and watch, it makes them more visually diverse, and it also makes it easier for me to want to learn about the characters. You know, unlike humans where I'm not even going to get into that because that's a completely different discussion. I'm being honest, a lot of these arguments just feel like excuses. There is no reason your non-human character needs to look like a human. You can make it look like almost anything. You can give it a design that makes sense. They don't need to look like a human. And if you want my honest opinion, no, it doesn't make them more relatable. It just makes them more generic. It also keeps your cast from standing out. It makes them blend together and it makes them more monotonous. And if you really need to make your non-human characters look like humans, then why are you making non-humans in the first place? What's the point? I'm sorry, but you can actually give your characters a decent design. There is no logical reason your totally different from humans race of characters needs to look like humans. Okay, did I miss anything? I think I've got just about what I wanted to cover for this video. Alright, until next time, I'm Baalf, and the cave is closed.